is sensational for Cincinnati. Mitch Hildebrand, the hero, and the underdogs have prevailed once again.
I would like to present the USL regular season championship to FC Cincinnati. Congratulations to the players, the staff, and most importantly the fans on a record-breaking season. Congratulations.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for your regular season champions, FC Cincinnati.
In a foot race, Cincinnati plays this across. Vasquez with the finish. Brandon Vasquez gives Cincinnati the 2-1 lead. A late breakdown by Red Bull.
Well, Dylan Nealis gets beaten, and nobody covers the streaking run. Unbelievable.
L'Oreal got under that. Oh! What a goal for FC Cincinnati! You couldn't dream that any better. Goal of the tournament. Maybe the history of the tournament. Alvaro Barreal makes it 2-0.
Acosta beats one man one-on-one and another. This is still Lucho Acosta continuing on. Acosta! Oh my goodness! A play worthy of a perfect 10 by Cincinnati's number 10.
Unbelievable. He's like a kid in a playground. He just picked the ball up and said, okay, you know what? I'm going to pick it up at the halfway line and I'm going to go all the way on my own. And you're thinking to yourself, release the ball now, release the ball now. He decides, no, I'm not having that. I'm going to have the goal instead. And I'm probably going to get the goal of the season as well.
Valerian looks to deliver, flick towards the far post, and it's off the line! What a save! That's a match-winning save.
He thinks that he's found the equalizer yet again, but Celentano just stays big and makes a massive save.
They have done it. Cincinnati, your 2023 Supporters Shield winners. A first trophy in their MLS era, and now they celebrate. Top of the Supporters Shield race since May. They never looked.
The Flying Lion says,
boys, hell is real.
2023 Supporter Shield champs.
So glad that I can be back with people who know that it's a Flying Lion.
It shows how much we all love this club.
Yeah, just a fan of the sport, you know.
It's definitely tougher to be in a cash player than it is a pro.
In this club, you don't play just for the club, you play for the ball.
Swap, car of the week, trivia question of the week.
Welcome back, everyone, to another live edition of the Flying Lion podcast. We are coming to you after a 3-0 victory for FC Cincinnati this past weekend, closing out the MLS regular season on a good note, Sam. 5 unbeaten in a row. Now we got to do 5 unbeaten in a row and go win the MLS Cup. So this will be a fun episode. We'll preview MLS playoffs. We're pumped. We're very excited for this. Sam, how are we doing tonight?
Yeah, stick with us. This is going to be a decently long episode, but it'll be worth it because, like Ryan said, FC Cincinnati in the MLS Cup playoffs. Can't wait to talk about everything playoffs. This is, the best time of the year for the MLS. So just, we're finally here, right? We've been talking about it all season. How can we gear up? What's more important, Supporter Shield or Cup? And like we talked about at the beginning of the season, this is something we don't have, Ryan. So we definitely want the cup at the end of the day.
Yeah, today you and win it. This is the last obvious, competition. We qualified for CONCACAF Champions Cup, so kind of, job secured that sense. But now we got to go win some hardware. But like I mentioned, so this match we'll kind of recap from the weekend. CF Montreal at home, last game, decision day. Going into it, Sam, we were looking to secure that second seed, and it was important to see potentially if we move on in playoffs, kind of where we would end up. Would we have a home match potentially for MLS Cup? And then who our, opponent would be. So this match had a little bit more meaning than maybe what we, had previewed even the last time. But past that, it was fan appreciation match as well. We had a sold out crowd. I think that we honestly had kind of lucked out on the weather for things too. So I think everyone was excited to see this team back home and to have a dominant victory.
Yeah, absolutely. Rain kept getting kind of pushed back, right? I think at first, at the beginning of the week, I think people were talking about Rain possibly being there, towards the end of the match or during the match, but luckily got pushed to Sunday. And yeah, I guess, going into this, Ryan, lineup wise, definitely we were not expecting what kind of was put out. Before the match, you kind of get the report or the player status report from the MLS saying that we have 6 players that are going to be out during this game. One of already, we already knew, which was Denke out for suspension. Yazga also kind of 2 that were going to be out. He's still coming back, but the other guys were kind of a little bit of a surprise. Were coming in questionable. And then, you add the 2 other questionable guys, Ryan, and we have a potential of 8 guys that will not be, with the first team for this game. So what were your thoughts kind of going into this lineup?
Well, you start to see guys that are coming back from international break, and you're right. You're like, well, who are we going to field for this team? We had Denke with suspension. Ender had come back from his international break, with Venezuela early with an injury. So you're right. I mean, in this one, it was kind of like a piecemeal it together and see if we can get a result out of this. But Pat Noonan, credit to them for, finding the way to do it with the personnel that they had. So, it ended up being Roman Celentano that got the start, Sam, over Evan Leroux. There was some question about that. Dominic Marzuk starts on the left with Teenage Hidebe, Miles Robinson, Nick Hagelin, Alvis Powell on the right wing back. And then we did have Obi back in the lineup for the first time since his quad tear, which was back on June 25th. So very excited to see Obi back in there with Pavel Buka there, our journeyman. He's been in that starting lineup every single game almost, it seems like. And then the front 3 of Evander, Brenner, and then Kai Kamara as well. So yeah, in a lot of ways, a decent starting lineup, all considering, and some guys with experience, because unfortunately we've had to put these guys in these spots. But you're right. It wasn't the traditional starting 11 and probably not what we want to start, the playoff match with coming up. But some notes, from this one, Celentano, like I mentioned, back in since he suffered his injury with U.S. men's national team. Again, a lot of questions if him and Leroux would battle it out. And Pat Noonan admitted like he had kind of a hard decision to make, which is good. That's what you want. You want to have good depth there too. So past that, Kai Kamara, feels like he's been around but hasn't really been playing. First start since August 10th, Sam. So it had been a while for him. He comes in, puts in some decent work, doesn't get any of the accolades or the goal even, but we could talk about that one a little bit if you want. But it's good to see Kai in there working hard. And then, I think this one, Sam, if we want to talk about traditional strikers on the bench, Kubo's kind of played that role. Dado's played that role, but you're right. We didn't really have that traditional out and out guy. If you want to look at the likes of Jabari being out with an injury or Denke as well.
Yeah, you said it all there. I mean, the big one for me is going to be Celentano in the back. That question mark, I think, is a lot bigger than what people may think, right? And you could honestly, like you said, when Pat was talking about it in that press conference, before this match, he was like, it's actually like a bigger question mark than you think, because Evan Leroux has been playing really well. He had back-to-back clean sheets, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yep.
Like coming into this one. So yeah, and then Celentano, he puts on a great show, during the game, like we'll talk about. But Ryan, in this match though, starting off in the first 30 minutes, we didn't really see much. Not much going on in this one on either side. Weren't really like any big chances that kind of stick out. But after the 30 minutes, we get the Cincinnati kid. The Cincinnati kid puts us on the board for the very first time since 2023, Ryan. So walk me through this Hagelin goal.
Well, yeah, I mean, for what the first 30 minutes lacked, the next 10 minutes, maybe even 6 minutes were just
gosh, yeah.
Chance after chance after chance. So, shortly before this, Brenner cuts in, heads a shot down to the corner. The keeper makes the save. You see Evander come over and take this corner, and just a rising Nick Hagelin. What I've been wanting all season long is to see, a set piece goal for Nick Hagelin at home in front of the fans. It comes on fan appreciation night. Like Sam mentioned, his first goal since August 26th of 2023 against NYCFC. He does a celebration that at the time, I think a lot of people were not quite sure what he was doing, but pays homage to the statue at Fountain Square. So Cincinnati kid, has to pay homage to the city. I love to see it. But awesome to get us ahead, especially in this one where you want to win, you want to secure that spot. But I was just pumped. It was a perfect header, Sam, wouldn't you say?
Oh my God. It was a great header. Obviously he chose back post, and plays it just a perfectly touched, right? Just over the keeper's stretching arm. And it was almost like he came to go get the ball, right? It wasn't like he waited for the ball to come to him. He went and attacked the ball and made that goal happen. So that was really good. And like Ryan said, right there, the gates kind of just were open for FC Cincinnati. After that, we have two big chances that it could have been 3-0 in the first half, right? Brenner has a nice chance when Evander plays the ball in towards the back post, wide open for a header, and that header just goes just left of the post. So that one's a chance. And then, like Ryan touched on, talking about the lineups with Kai Kamara, Kamara has this chance. He's just having trouble getting the ball into the back of the net, even when the ball comes right to him. Montreal's trying to play out of the back, having a little bit of trouble themselves, and Kamara just intercepts it. It hits him, and he tries to volley it on, the first touch, and just gets a little bit underneath it and skies that thing, over
poor
the bar.
guy's curse, Sam. I mean, it feels like shades of like Corey Baird at some
Oh
point.
my gosh, yeah.
I mean, Kamara hasn't had a goal for us.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been on this
criminal. That's absolutely criminal.
Isn't it? Like, I think it's just wild. Like, obviously the joke is that we drafted him and then traded him away. So then this is kind of like his return home. He's done all the right things except score. Like, he's hit the post probably like 3 times. He's like gotten so unlucky with some great saves by keepers as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how poetic would it be if he scored against the Crew in the playoffs? Like, that would be insane, especially since that was his former team too. So, but I mean, let's be fair. How many other teams are his former team? But yeah, so Sam's right. It could have been 3-0, right away. It seems like the trend for FC Cincinnati. You have chances. You unfortunately can't put it away, and then Montreal gets a chance. So right before half, Hagelin, for what he made, with his header, he unfortunately made a crucial mistake in the 5th minute of extra time. So a ball is kind of ricocheted through or played through. I think it caught the back line off of their guard a little bit, and Nick just goes through and just kind of clears the guy out in the box. Wasn't a great decision. I think he was just trying to catch up, but got a little bit too much of the player. But yeah, I mean, we lucked out, Sam. We had the post on our side this night. I would say it's post appreciation night as well, and in addition to the fans. But yeah, I mean, Sam, I don't know if you saw this, the guy that took the PK, Prince Owosu, terrible, had some racist comments made towards him after he misses this PK, online. Absolutely terrible. Again, no place for this in the game. But I mean, come on, Montreal wasn't even fighting for a playoff spot or anything. And like, why are we doing this?
No, he also had a head injury earlier in the game too. He collided with Hidebe and had the head injury. So guy was going through it, in this first half. But Ryan, he becomes the 3rd failed PK attempt by an FC Cincinnati opponent this season. Hani Mukhtar was the first, saved by Celentano on that one back in March, and then Alonso Martinez for NYCFC in May actually missed his PK as well. So we're getting pretty lucky here.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting stat. I didn't realize that. I think in Roman was in goal for all of them, if I'm not correct.
Yeah.
Okay. So so that's a half. You're up 1-0. Feels like it could have been 1-1 or 3-1. Like, it was just a wide variability in that. And then we go in the second half, and like Sam mentioned, with Hidebe's head injury, it sounds like he cleared concussion protocol from what Pat said, but it was a kind of a rough half for him. So they subbed him out. They put the young guy Flores, in center back, give him some minutes. And then they had Kubo come in as well. And we see right after the half that Kubo gets a chance, a perfectly weighted ball from Evander. Honestly, probably should have crossed the ball to somebody in the middle on it. But it was a chance nonetheless. And it's exciting to have Kubo back in the fold of things. And hopefully he can be kind of that factor, in the playoffs. We'll touch on that a little bit later. But Sam, 56 minute our guy, the king. He's doing what he's been doing all season long.
Yeah, absolutely. So Evander takes the ball along the top of the box on this one and finds a bit of space and just finds the back of the net to the right of the keeper. Honestly, like didn't think he was gonna, shoot it to the right. Maybe he was gonna try and curl it in with the left rather than just a straight shot to the right, and kind of catches the keeper off guard in that sense. And Ryan, like you said, becomes the new king of FC Cincinnati, new king of Cincinnati. FC Cincinnati's new all-time club record for goals in a season in all competitions with 22. And as you see during the celebration, Nick Hagelin puts the crown on his head for the celebration. So very, very fitting in that sense.
It was pretty cool. I mean, honestly, the part of you reading what happened in this play is just awesome to me. It's like, well, they gave, Evander a little bit of space, and all season long, teams been giving Evander too much space, which fine by me. He's going to capitalize on it. And he certainly did in this one. So we go up 2-0, and the question was, what's the response from the team? Are we going to keep the foot on, the pedal there, or are we going to let up a goal? Cause that seems to be what this team had done. But past that, Sam, we kind of pushed through. Anunga has a really good chance that he can't convert, like a golden opportunity that I think Brenner puts on a platter. But then shortly after that, Brenner just goes off. Like, this play shouldn't have been a goal, but I think it all comes down to, if you guys listen to our interview with Laurel, she talked about how Brenner really wanted to score 4 goals for FC Cincinnati by the end of the regular season, and he gets it. So you could really tell he was gunning for this. He takes this touch, a long touch around the defender, kind of really runs onto it, beats the outside back, and slots it away. He just wanted it more.
Turns on the burners.
It was an unbelievable kind of like solo attempt by him, and just shows a little bit of his speed too. I think that's underrated. His skills on the ball are good.
The thing that I think shows, as we, kind of recap this game and put a bow on it with a 3-0 win, Ryan, that shows that not only in the same match, right, you have guys that have built a lot of chemistry together in a very short period of time to where we can play ball together, right? We can have a team goal, if you will, but then you can also have individual brilliance goals, right? With Brenner and with Evander possibly, where they just ball out, right? They take it themselves and they create themselves, right? And that's what's very scary about this FC Cincinnati squad.
Yeah, I mean, all three, you're right, were individual efforts. Like, obviously, Dowdo pokes it through to Brenner, but Brenner does all the work. And on the Evander goal, Evander does all the work. So there is some interconnection, but a lot of it is solo efforts by these guys and just going off. But like I mentioned, 4 goals, 1 assist for Brenner, 6 matches for the club since August 30th. He's really been the catalyst for this team in the last 8-9 games to go on this 5-game win streak. I'm going to say it right there. I just really feel like he's gelled well with Evander. And I think we'll talk about that, in our push to the playoffs here too. But some impression stats for you guys, as we love to tell you. FC Cincinnati finished the regular season in 2nd in the East and 2nd in Supporter Shield, just missing out on Supporter Shield for 2nd place by 1 point this time, which is just insane. We had the same amount of points as Miami, but 1 more win than them. So if we had, you go back and look at it, 1 more, victory or 1 more tie in some games that, you want back. But that's why I think this league is so amazing. 34 games, and it comes down to the last day to decide, 2nd and 3rd, maybe 1 more match day back, potentially for Supporter Shield. It's just insane, wouldn't you say?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I think seeing that, it's like what could have been, right? We talked about kind of like last episode, right? When Supporter Shield was, for Philly, right? Philly clinched it, and we kind of like, man, 1 or 2 of those results go our way, and it literally would have just taken another 3 points, right? And we would have had the Supporter Shield. So is what it is. But Ryan, this is also a first sweep of CF Montreal since 2019. So very impressive there. We dominated them this season. Just once again, just FC Cincinnati doing FC Cincinnati things against
teams they should beat.
Teams they should beat, right? And that doesn't always happen, but I'm glad we could do that. And then, like you have here, Roman gets his first clean sheet since July 19th at Real Salt Lake. It's been a long time coming for this guy. He was sitting on the bench, recovering from an injury, seeing Lauro get his clean sheets. He's like, hey, I want one of those. I want one of those to cap off the season and feel good going into the playoffs.
He finishes with 10 in the regular season, clean sheets, that is. So that, I think, was tied for fourth, I believe. I think the top guy had 12, and then there was one guy with 11, and then he was tied with another player. So whichever way you want to look at it, third or fourth. But yeah, impressive for him. I mean, his best year was 2023 in terms of clean sheets. That maybe more a little bit in relation to the defense than anything. But yeah, it felt like a long time since he had no goals against him, and it sure was. It's been like 3 months. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And like we mentioned with Hag's goal, but with his assist, Sam, he actually had an assist in this match. His first assist since October 9th of 2022 against DC United, which was also on decision day. So Hags with the goal, the assist, he should probably be in team of the match day. If he's not, I think it's a crime. I think him and Evander probably will, or Brenner. I don't know who you would put as the other one, but Hags definitely should. Yeah. Sam, kind of an interesting note here. We did highlight our canvas kit, our white kit we rocked at home this week. For all those wondering why.
Saying goodbye.
Yeah, we're saying goodbye to this white kit. It's the second year we've had it, so that's why we rocked it at home this time. With this win, Sam, 25 wins and 8 losses and 5 draws, I believe, while wearing the canvas kit. That's a pretty solid record in this one. Maybe they'll rock it during the postseason because of the way that we've been playing with it on. But then, like we had our trivia question last week, with this win, secured our third time in FC Cincinnati history with 20 wins in a single MLS season. Again, impressive. Just doing better than we did last year. Just barely underneath what it would require to get that shield. But nonetheless, unbelievable season for like how up and down some of it had been. How at sometimes we thought like, man, are we that bad? But then we're the second best team in the MLS on paper. So pretty wild, Sam. So we'll get into our storylines here, and then we'll take a break. We'll go into some of the playoff push, if you guys want to call it that. So Sam, if you want to walk us through this first storyline we have.
Yeah, so first storyline heading into the playoffs, Ryan, is injuries, right? Obviously, I think that's the biggest one that stands out. I mean, before the match, people see, oh my gosh, we got 6 players out with the potential of 8. Like, what just happened? I thought we were healthy. Maybe we were, a little banged up with Miazga, and, we see Orishano with the hamstring, but, we didn't think it was too bad. We got Obi coming back, Celentano coming back, like vibes are decent. And then you see Orishano, Miazga, Jabari, Angle out in this one. So these guys, what happened, right? We're obviously, we don't really have a lot of answers right now. Hoping to get more answers as they go into training, throughout the week. We kind of get updates of all we got though, Ryan, was leg. Right. And we talked about this. If you've been following the podcast for a while, this is something that we touched on throughout the season. Yeah. Leg injuries, could be hamstring, anything. Calf, and anything, right? That has been a common theme throughout the season, Ryan. And so with these guys, how is this going to, especially you looking at Orishano and Engel, right? That's the left side of our defense. So how does that affect the rotation of guys playing out of position, right? We saw that at the beginning of the match with Marksuk playing on the left. We usually put him on the right. He played pretty decent. I think he only played 45 though. Mm-hmm. So what are your thoughts on kind of those injuries heading into the playoffs?
Yeah, I think we'll really hammer it home, in the second half. But just coming off the regular season that it was, I think what I took out of it is there's just so many competitions in so many ways for these guys just to get battered and beaten up that, it's in some ways a blessing that we don't have more guys out for the season. I think Brad Smith's the only one right now that's really out, but there's still optimism, I think, for several of these guys. But like Sam said, what's unfortunate is there's no real clear reporting past that on, the length of the injury or the extent or anything. But with Joe Burrow, we know what toe and what ligament, and he had surgery and he's out, he's expected to come back mid-December. And it's just it's so vague trying to be able to tell you guys like who's going to be available and not. It's a guessing game in a lot of ways. But again, I'm feeling more optimistic having a few guys back in this past one. But like I said, we'll touch on that a little bit later. Sam, I want to highlight. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to make one more note. So specifically on Engel, I don't know if you saw pregame, but Engel was going to become the second player in FC Cincinnati history to play in all 34 matches. And he doesn't play in this one, right? So he misses out on – this is a guy that's on loan, right? He's not even with us full time. So him almost being able to do that, just falling short is a little tough.
Yeah. No, I mean – that would have been incredible. I talked about how much Buka, had played all this season, but I totally blanked on Engel playing that many minutes and that many matches too. But I think like for a player on loan, Sam, too, you don't expect these guys to potentially play that much sometimes too. Yeah. But he comes in and slots in so well. Like I think we definitely have to pick up this guy's option for the coming year. So I wanted to highlight one thing before we go to our jersey swaps and our cards here, Sam. If we look at the beginning of the season, we always do a preview of the season where we think FC Cincinnati is going to do. It's the end of the regular season, so we're going to hit this right now. So our predictions, this was back at the end of February, right before the season kicked off. MLS season, Sam and I actually, second in the East. We both predicted it correctly, so that was good. Leagues Cup, Sam had semifinals finish, and I had a quarterfinals finish. We fell way short of both of those. But that's okay. CONCACAF Champions Cup, Sam said we were going to be the champions, which we fell short of that one, unfortunately. And then I said that we would have a second round exit to Tigres, which is what happened with that. So that being said, I feel like we did pretty well. I don't think we picked, our playoff predictions just because it's so variable on who's available and not.
They'll see that in the second half of the podcast if they stick around.
We filled out a bracket, so we'll let you guys know what we think. But yeah, just something interesting from the very beginning of the season. But let's roll into some jersey swaps here. Sam, who'd you have this week?
Yeah, jersey swap of the week for me, it's going to be Evander. This guy, Ryan, he's unbelievable. He is the newly crowned king of Cincinnati, now holding single season club record for goals scored in all comps, and then 18 regular season goals, matches the club record for MLS goals in a season. Once again, more stats, his 15th game of multiple goal contributions this season, a new single season club record. And he also matches Lucho's record for goal contributions in a single MLS season with 33. So in one season, this man has reached heights we didn't think were possible, right? We saw Lucho's year in 2023. We went, man, that's an MVP type season. Not sure we're going to be able to see that. We got lucky again with another number 10. In his last 5 matches, he's also had 8 goal contributions. So this guy is coming in hot for the playoffs, and I just can't wait to see what playoff Evander can do.
We need him, man. I think he had said it perfectly, as he wants to come here to win. And like Pat Noonan had said in his press conference, like Evander has shown up to work and said, this is what I want to do, and this is how I want to dominate. And in his first season with the club, to set records for, all of what we listed out is just incredible. I'm going to hit you with another one that I don't think anyone's put out here, but he has 40 goal contributions in all competitions. That's a club record, Sam. Lucho in his MVP season had 39, and that was including the playoffs. So this is minus playoff Evander, already has the most goal contributions of any player in team history. It's incredible. Again, this season for him, it's been historic. Crown him already. If it weren't for a guy down south and a guy out west, I think, he's the second best player in the league right now. I mean, what Messi's doing is just insane. But Evander has just been nonstop for us, which is something that we needed.
No, absolutely. And Ryan, who was your jersey swap of the week?
Yeah, I highlighted him in the first part here, but Brenner, I just think the way that this guy has come into this team with a good attitude and just a willingness to score goals. For all the time that he spent in Italy and didn't score, he's coming over here and saying, I'm in familiar territory and I'm rearing and ready to go. His connection with Evander has just been the best thing that we could have hoped for, and it's still growing. They've only had so many games, and they've He's got 4 goals and an assist. And I just feel like in the playoffs, these guys are just going to hit, that second gear even more. I'm very pleased to have him back. Now the question is, can we keep him? But while he's here, let's do something exciting with the two of them.
No, I know that's not for us to answer right now. Let's just enjoy the good times. That's what they say, right? We're not here for a good, we're here for a good time, not a long time. So,
but maybe he's here for a long time too. We'll see.
Well, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Give us another DP spot. You want to come back on a TAM deal?
Sure.
But yeah, Brenner, I mean, obviously you saw like the Brazilian connection once again just keeps showing up, and it's incredible to see. Brenner, grabs the Brazilian flag after he scores the goal there. Very special. He obviously feels at home. He wants to be in Cincinnati, and you can see it. It's just one of those where you're like, I don't know if we have enough room for you. Like, we want to bring you back, but yeah, a special player. Absolutely. And, when the lights shine brightest in Cincinnati, he shows up for sure.
Yeah, no, again, let's see what these guys can do, man. It's been fun. I just hope it's not a short amount of time this time for Brenner. But on the flip side, Sam, our cards of the week, we'll do this half of the episode. And then, like we said, we'll cover a big playoff preview for the second half. But who'd you have for your card of the week?
Yeah, controversial. I keep seeing stuff all over the place, especially, based off of the game he just had. And, but people are saying Messi is the best MLS player we've ever seen, right? He might be the best player to come into the MLS, but as far as an MLS player, he has yet to top the greatest MLS season of all time, right? Messi so far this season, right? He just got the Golden Boot for the season, had 29 goals, 19 assists, but real ball knowers will be the ones to quickly point out that there's another great MLS player. Need to put some respect on Carlos Vela's name. 2019, Carlos Vela took brand new LAFC to the Supporter Shield, scoring 34 goals and having 15 assists. So he has 49 goal contributions, right, in an MLS season. Messi had 48 this season. I'm just saying he still hasn't eclipsed the greatest MLS season ever.
That's a controversial take, Sam. I don't know how I feel about this one. There are going to be some hot comments on this, but I think like ultimately this guy's going to win, the MVP once again, just because of his numbers. But again, his team wasn't the top in the East. They weren't the top in the MLS. We'll see what happens in the playoffs, obviously, but he's going to win his second MVP in a row, and that's never been done in the league. So I think I could push back a little bit on that in terms of that. But from a single season standpoint, you're right. I think Vela's season is just unbelievable, especially for a team that hadn't been developed prior. And that's just something to, again, just appreciate. So I could see that part of that take.
All right, Ryan, what was your card of the week, though?
Sam, I was going to go in hot with MLS predictions. I told you guys that I thought that, we kind of hit the nail on the head when we were talking about our predictions at the beginning of the season. But then we get the scheduling for the MLS playoffs, and that has become my red card of the week. So for those who are not familiar here, FC Cincinnati is playing their first round matchup against the Columbus Crew. Hell is real. Monday night at 6:45 p.m. The second year in a row that we've now been playing a Monday playoff game. MLS, what are we doing? This is beyond unacceptable. Why are we giving a higher seed a disadvantage for a Monday night game and then the Crew get to host on a Sunday? I don't understand it. In 6:45, terrible. Okay, so for further context, we share the same security as the Bengals, so we couldn't play on Sunday. No MLS team is playing a playoff game on Saturday, and only one game is playing on that Friday. What are we doing?
No, that's
I feel like Taylor Twellen. What are we doing?
Yeah, I don't know. Immediately I text you. I was like, this is ridiculous. I know if you look on the Twitter sphere, right, of FC Cincinnati, Laurel actually pushed back on a lot of fans and said, well, like, what do you expect? Like, this is a team that is, a second seed. We didn't get Supporter Shield, so why should we get prime time?
Because it's the best rivalry in the MLS.
Yes, that's the thing that I think should be up and above everything. Like, look what you get for the first round. You get this gem of a matchup, right? Why would you not put it center stage? But yeah, I agree with you. The only thing that'll be competing with us on Sunday, Ryan, is Chiefs versus the Commanders, which is the Monday Night Football game for next week right now.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's hard for people that are working or having to get their kids. So, I see a lot of people online that are looking to sell potentially already. Like, support this team, go in any way you can, plan accordingly, like just to be there and fill your butt in the seat, because honestly, like, this team needs it. We've seen what's happened against the Crew. We'll talk about it later, but it's such a disadvantage. You go this whole season and you fight for better standings in the conference. In 2 years in a row, they're going to screw us over and put us in a Monday night game. I know we won last year in that Monday game, but still, it's absolutely ridiculous. I'm very hot about it. I'm not happy, but hopefully we can still get the win. So, Sam, let me cool down a little bit. Give me a trivia question here.
Yeah, we'll give you a little trivia question, cool you down here, go into the break. Maybe Ryan needs a water break, right? But for the trivia question of the week, presented by Goals TV, last time FC Cincinnati played the Columbus Crew in the playoffs, it was in the 2023 MLS Cup semifinals. Who scored the opening goal in that match?
It's a good question. It would be easy to say Lucho, but I actually think it was Brandon Vasquez. I'm going to lock in Brandon Vasquez.
Any idea, like,
first
time?
Half, probably like 20th minute or something. Like, I feel like we went up fairly early on them.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see what it is on the other side. Stick with us.
Hey, everyone. Just a quick message from Ryan and Sam here at the Flying Lion Podcast. We wanted to share some exciting news with you. The Flying Lion Podcast has officially partnered with Chatterbox Sports. We are very excited to be a part of the Chatterbox community, as they have proven to give you the very best coverage of Cincinnati sports thus far.
For those who are new to the Flying Line Podcast, we cover FC Cincinnati news, game recaps, analysis, and unique segments such as our trivia question of the week, jersey swap of the week, card of the week. Give us a listen on our post-match shows on every away game on Chatterbox YouTube and our weekly episodes wherever you get your podcast. Thank you again for your support.
Thanks again to those who are joining us for this live episode, this, I don't know, terrible, Sunday night when we're recording right now, but hopefully it's going to be a good week for FC Cincinnati moving forward. Sam, this is the meat and the potatoes of the episode here. This is what everyone wants to know. We're going to hit it really hard here. The path to the MLS Cup for FC Cincinnati. We're going to hit that on this part. Before we do, FC Cincinnati 2 did have their playoff match today. They played the Philly 2 team. They unfortunately lost away. It was a good match. I believe it was a 2-1 victory for Philly. We were down 1-0. We came back and tied it pretty early on after they scored. And unfortunately, I think like the 63rd minute, Philly scores again, and we're out of it. But unbelievable season for them, Sam.
Yeah, the young Garys, I think we talked about it a little bit last episode, but the development that we saw throughout the season from them was insane, right? A couple players can be noted, coming into this match, actually for September, Ademir Chavez got Rising Star, MLS Next Rising Star, Tyrone Marshall, FC Cincinnati 2 coach, got, coach of the month, and then the FC Cincinnati 2 team as a whole also earned MLS Next Pro honors. So you see kind of how they ended the season, right? And they ended really well. So shout out to them. Obviously, going out in the first round of the playoffs is always going to sting a little bit, but hey, great season for them. If they can, obviously they're the second team, right? So there's going to be a lot of turnover usually year after year. But those key guys that you saw them bring in, those big names, from overseas, I think you'll see them continue to develop. And, the guy that scored the goal today, Andres Davia, right? One of the best young kids in the world, right? So I think you can even see him start to make even more an impact as we go into next season.
Yeah, we'll have a lot to say about this team in the offseason. Like Sam mentioned, just some really solid players, for the two team. Again, unfortunately, they couldn't pull through, but at one point I think they were in last place, like in June. So for them to make the playoffs and to do as well as they did at the end of the year, again, props to them. Adamir Chavez, again, another one for the future, like you mentioned, going to be a first-team player within a year or two, I would imagine, as long as we can keep him. Like, honestly, we might have to sell him abroad to another team. So, again, applaud to them for a great season. We've covered them all season. It's been fun, and can't wait to talk about them more. But now for what you guys are all waiting for here in a playoff preview, we're going to give you a breakdown of what this looks like. So first, to kind of intro it for those who aren't familiar. So we do have the wild card matches that are going to be on Wednesday, October 22nd. That one, I believe, is going to be Chicago against Orlando. On the West, I can't think of it off the top of my head for the West.
Real Salt Lake versus Portland.
That's right. Thank you. So, yeah, I think Dallas snuck in, right? But they got like a solidified spot. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah. Dallas will be playing Vancouver.
Oh, wow. So, yeah, even without Lucho. So that's insane. So, yeah, wild card matches. And then we go to round one, the best of three series. So Friday, October 24th through Sunday, November 9th. It's the only, I guess, part of the MLS playoffs that's best of three. Then we go to the conference semifinals, which is Saturday, November 22nd through Sunday, November 23rd. So that's one match. Conference finals, again, another one match, November 29th and 30th. And then kind of wild, Sam, MLS Cup, again, Saturday, December 6th. Circle it on your calendar, mark it, exit. FC Cincinnati playing at home in TQL. That would be super exciting to see. But some quick rules for you guys, for all those sickos out there that want to know this. But I think it's relevant now that we're into this playoff situation. So round one, no extra time, Sam. Straight to PKs, very similar to the League Cup rules. So that'll be the best of three round against the Crew. If it ends in a tie, we'll go straight to PKs. So get right to the point. Someone's got to win. Second round, the single game, the conference semifinals, traditional extra time. So 2 15-minute halves and then PKs as needed. Past that, it's golden goal, I believe, in the 30 minutes. Or no, I think they play it out. I'm pretty sure they play it out.
No golden goal. Yeah,
no golden goal, but they play it out. And then conference finals, very similar. And then MLS Cup. We would potentially host MLS Cup, Sam, if we were to beat, if it is Philly that's there, that would be the next best team above us. Everybody else is below us. So all we got to do is keep winning. And then if we can beat Philly or if it's somebody else, like we would host MLS Cup. And that's, again, special, the fact that we were second overall in the standings and have that potential again. We had that 2 years ago. We were so close. So now let's go get it. Sam, if you want to load our MLS Cup picks on the screen, guys, this is kind of our thoughts, and it kind of displays it for you well on what we're thinking here. Did we have very similar picks on this one, Sam?
Yeah, so Ryan, why don't you go first? Break down your picks if you want. This is your bracket, then we'll go over mine.
Okay. Yeah. So in mine, like I see a lot of the traditional better seeds winning. I think the only upset I have was LAFC over Vancouver, and then I think I actually had NYCFC being. I think that LA is going to win in their game with Sun on their team. I think that's going to be tough for Seattle. And then I think we're going to beat New York City. So I think we're going to have a FC Cincinnati LAFC final at TQL on that December 6th. Sam, what'd you have in yours?
Well, for yours, if I'm not mistaken, I think you had that one last year. Maybe we had like
the same final. I think I had the same final predicted.
Yeah. I think we've been looking for like an FC Cincinnati LAFC final, the past couple years. But yeah. So, but here's mine right here. So I've got a couple of upsets, right? Okay. So first round, you look at the left side. I think Seattle will be able to take advantage of San Diego. Seattle's a very hot team. They won 4 out of their last 5. So I like them on that side. And then Vancouver for the West, just taking over LAFC. I think honestly, it's a toss-up between them and LAFC. I believe the last time that LAFC and Vancouver faced, it was in June, maybe, or no, maybe sooner than that. But I just think that game's going to be a toss-up. But yeah, I think Vancouver's a little too good for Seattle. Would be insane if Seattle made another final after winning Leagues Cup. But you look on the right side of the bracket for me, I've got first round. I think Orlando will beat Chicago, and then Orlando will upset Philly. I just feel like Orlando.
No way.
Yeah, I don't know. Philly hasn't seen them since April, so it's been a while since they've seen this Orlando team. Maybe there's something there that could happen. But I've got Charlotte beating NYC. Miami just kicked the crap out of Nashville, so they'll probably do it again. But then, I think obviously Charlotte will probably beat Orlando in that, because I just think the quality there.
I think Charlotte's going to go on a run. Wow.
Well, Charlotte's got the best goalkeeper in the league, right? So
yeah,
they'll probably stand on him a little bit, and then you got the battle of the Queen Cities, Ryan, for the Eastern Conference Finals, and then I've got obviously FC Cincinnati taking on Thomas Muller there in the MLS Cup Finals.
Yeah, that's interesting picks, Sam. I like it. I like some of the upsets in there as well. So hopefully, if you guys want to go and put out your brackets, we'd love to see them and who you guys have. Hopefully we're on a lot of the same page with, obviously the team that we follow, if you're listening to us here. But if we kind of break down what our road would look like, as you guys kind of saw it displayed out there, Sam and I both have very similar tracks, but best of 3 against the Crew, then potentially Miami or Nashville. I think they just played, Miami just won 5-2. So it's kind of interesting. They could potentially play 3 matches again. And then potentially after that, the only away match that we might have would be at Philly, which it's been really tough for this team to win there, especially, the way that Philly's been playing this year. So, if Sam, Orlando can upset Philly, yeah, sure, absolutely. Yeah. That'd be great. Or any team, that would be awesome. But then the final, like I mentioned, would be a home match if we make it. Like literally, if we just get to that point, we're hosting it at home. So I think as a coach, you simplify it as much as possible. You go game by game, find your best matchup, and just say you just have to find a way to win every single one. And that's the way we've done it the last 5 matches. So I think we can do it. But Sam, if FC Cincinnati is going to win the MLS Cup, what is the if? What is the if for us to win the cup?
Yeah, to win the MLS Cup, FC Cincinnati, the defense needs to be airtight, and that's going to take the whole team, right? Obviously, we talked about probably going to be without Matt Miazga for at least the first round. So that means guys got to step up, and I think the midfield will be fine. We've seen Obi and Buka, step up when they need to. And then I think for FC Cincinnati to win MLS Cup, you have to finish our chances. We have so much talent up front that finishing off those chances is going to be crucial, right? Especially when you want to put games away late. So those are probably the things that we need to look at for if we win MLS Cup.
Yeah, no, I love it. I'm on a lot of the same page. Like this team has been able to capitalize and get the lead, but from my standpoint, being able to keep the lead, so if we can get a lead early and keep it, best case scenario, this team late on in games has done well after the 75th minute with keeping leads, but not in the past. Like, I think it was like the last 2 months where you'd kind of let in these goals. So I think if we want to do well, that is one of them. And then the defense has just got to be better. And lately it has been. But if we want to win, that's, I think the key is the defense. And then being able to utilize our subs in the correct way, I think is undervalued in this as well. Now that we have a little bit more depth, that'll kind of roll into my X factor here. So I don't want to go too quick, but Sam, if FC Cincinnati is going to lose in the first round, why do you think that would be the case? Let's hope that this doesn't happen, but what do you think?
I think obviously the first one I touched on was defense needs to be airtight, and if FC Cincinnati lose, it's going to be because they can't defend solidly, and they struggle to finish. It also could mean that FC Cincinnati continues to get the injury bug, right? We've seen coming into this playoff series. If we lose, it's because we don't have that depth that we thought we would have, throughout the whole season, throughout July, in August during the transfer window, picking up those crucial depth pieces. I think also, like you had just mentioned, poor adjustments could also lead to it. We talked about Noonan ball and what that means, for throughout this whole season, throughout the tenure, right, with Pat Noonan. If we fail to make those specifically second half adjustments, we might be able to, we might lose like first round, or, maybe you get swept. So hopefully those things don't happen.
Yeah, well done. I don't really have a ton to add past that. Obviously, we know the history with this opponent and the matchup against, Noonan and Nance. So if that were to happen, I think it'd because one manager was able to adjust better than the other, and that's really what it's going to come down to in this one. But X factor for FC Cincinnati in the playoffs, Sam, who do you have?
Yeah, X factor isn't one player. It's the three-headed monster, right?
Ooh.
The three-headed monster of Evander, Denke, and Brenner. These three guys need to step up, and they need to step up in a big way, right? It's not, like I said, just one player. It's who steps up in those key moments, whether it be Denke scoring a late goal, Evander breaking, the deadlock, could single-handedly tip a series our favor.
Yeah, no, I like that. The three-headed monster is going to have to step up. Evander's going to have to be that guy. And then a hot Brenner as well. So my X factor is going to be a healthy Obinna Nwobodo. I think, you see him in this last match play 45 minutes. If this guy can play at the level that we know that he can, this team is going to make a far run. I feel fairly confident that, this will touch on to my next one, but that we have depth behind him. And now they've had, sustainable minutes to figure it out. But Obi is just that guy. And he's just a different force in the midfield, and he can be that X factor for us that for the rest of the season, Sam, we haven't had, for 4 months now.
Yeah.
And it's made a difference in that big stretch through August where we were letting in goals. So having Obi there to be that stopgap is going to be the X factor for me. I'm going to ask you this one. It might be related to what you had said maybe before, but biggest non-starter to impact this team.
Yeah, I think I've got two here. The first being, I think Jabari. I guess three, maybe. Jabari and Kai Kamaro. Either one of those guys, because they're very similar, right? So, but if Jabari's healthy, you're probably going to go with him. But I'm looking for Jabari to be that aerial threat during these playoffs. I think, him being a non-starter, you come in, he can impact a game late, especially with those defenders that may have heavy legs, some tired legs throughout the second half. He can really, just explode into space and hopefully get his first goal for FC Cincinnati. The second player is Alvis Powell. I just say Alvis Powell because of his ability to play center back when we need him to, can play out wide with right wing back or right back, and he can impact the game that way, Ryan, with his versatility, right? As well as we could even see, one of his infamous runs, right? Maybe Alvis Powell streaking from the back line, making something happen in the attack.
It's a good answer. I like that. I'm also going to go with two. Brian Anunga ties into my fact that Obi's not all the way 100% yet. So if we get a lead and we want to keep it, then Anunga's got to come in and he's got to shut down the midfield. I don't feel confident, right at this point about Kubo being that person. Maybe it could be Giddey. I think Giddey is that guy that we might turn towards as well. So that was my first part. The second part, Sam, a non-traditional answer here, but Evan Leroux is for me going to be the biggest non-starter impact. And the reason why is he is an unbelievable PK stopper. So I think if this team is in a situation where it's 0-0 going down the stretch, we need to make some saves in PKs. They might sub in Evan Leroux to make some huge saves. And I think maybe swing the balance for the guys to move on. So something to look out for if we want to do that. I don't think we've done that yet, but I've seen other teams do it in the MLS.
Yeah, that's definitely a good shout. I think Leroux obviously played a big part down the stretch here, and we'd be, a little naive, right, to think that he couldn't play an impact in the playoffs, especially like you said, with his ability to stop PKs late game. But Ryan, let's get into it. I mean, the game itself, the series itself Columbus Crew at home, this first game series so far this season has been 1-1, right? We won the first one. They won the second one. The last match, FC Cincinnati got out.
I thought we tied. Didn't we tie the first one in Columbus?
We tied 2-2. You're right. We tied 2-2 first match.
And then lost.
Yeah, that's right. So 1-1.
Yeah.
And the last match, FC Cincinnati got out to a hot start, right? 2-0 lead, and then eventually lost 4-2, given some, own goals and then kind of a free pass goal. So could have been another 2-2 draw in that one. But since then, Ryan, since the last time we played them, FC Cincinnati has added Samuel Giddy, Ender Echenike, Brenner, Dominic Marzuk, Ayub Jabari. The Crew have only added 2 players since then, and one of their players is likely out for the season. As of September 24th, they were saying he could be out for the season, but he also could make a return for the playoff. So not sure there. But yeah, Ryan, I think these are 2 completely different teams, the last time they saw each other.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think every FC Cincinnati fan sees this matchup happen in real time on decision day, and it's just like, oh, well, here we go again, So let's write this different. Let's go and just win in the way we should win. I think this team has won, 4 out of the last 5, unbeaten in 5. The Crew have won 1 in their last 5. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's literally every time we play this team, it's even, and it comes down to who wants it more. So I think, honestly, not to say it was the best thing for us to lose the way we did, but these players remember. And you mentioned there's a lot of new guys on the team. Brenner's been on this squad and has played in hell is
Oh, yeah, he knows.
So I think that these guys will be even more motivated to put a stamp and say, like, look, this is not going to happen. And that's, for me, what's a little bit, unfortunate is that it's that Monday night game, that we're playing at 6:45. There's a lot of things that go against us having this huge, pregame, this build up, the Bailey getting up, but like, we still got to go. We still got to perform. The fans got to show up and do what they do. And we just got to do it the right way. And hopefully we can get some guys healthy for it. But I'm just very optimistic in this one. Again, I don't know if my heart can handle, 3 games against the Crew in a week and a half or whatever it is. But yeah, it's nuts. It'll be a fun one by a long shot. It's going to be the best rivalry. I don't think, have we seen rivalries like this do a best of 3?
I don't know. I don't know. Since
they
started the new format, I don't think so.
I don't think the LA teams have done it. NYCFC and Red Bulls haven't had a best of 3 in the playoffs, I don't think.
Well, I don't know if that one's up there with us, but
that's true.
But Ryan, FC Cincinnati, you talk about feeling optimistic. FC Cincinnati has won 4 out of their last 5, and the Crew have only won 1 game out of their last 5 matches. So obviously the it's kind of tipped in our favor a little bit, if you will. Obviously, we're the higher seed as well, for a reason. But I think in this match, Ryan, for me, look for Columbus to stay competitive throughout the first half there, and perhaps aim to go to PKs in an away match by kind of parking the bus a little bit. That's in my opinion. In
They
second half
possession dominant though.
I know. I'm just saying though. I could see them doing that, so that way they could go back home and be able to put the icing on the cake, especially if they win in PKs, etc. But we did have a comment on YouTube, Ryan. I want you to answer this one. How does FC Cincinnati stop the likes of Diego Rossi, Darlington Nagbe, and Max Arston from beating us?
Well, I think that Rossi's been out for a bit, so he might just be getting back. Yeah, we got to have an answer. Like, we haven't had an answer for these guys. Nagbe's been the X factor for them. I think the last time we played in July, we didn't have Obi. So Obi being there will hopefully negate what Darlington Nagbe can do. And him and Buka's communication is going to be huge for that. Arston shooting down the wing, that's a big question mark with who's that right back, because right now, is Ender going to be hurt? Is he going to be available for it? Who's going to mark him? Arston's had a hot run in the past year, but it's going to come down to communication. It's going to come down to us making sure that if we're going to press high, that they cannot beat us like they did, the last time, which was just they exposed our press and they adjusted to what we wanted to do. Like we dominated, like you said, the first 30 minutes. And then Nance said, well, this is the way we're going to play, and kind of dictated the way that game went. So who's going to punch first and what's the counter punch, just like we said. So I think Obi, like to be kind of simplify it, Obi is going to be crucial in this. And then the backline communication for sure, and negating that as well.
Yeah, that's very, very fair. So Ryan, if you want, when we kind of touched on lineup a little bit, as far as, in storylines and in this kind of preview. So we'll straight to predictions. What do you have for not only this game, but what do you have for the series?
Oh, we're going series as well. Wow. Okay. 1-0 victory at home, game 1. I think just safe 1-0 victory. I think game 2 is going to go to PKs, and we'll win in PKs personally. And I think we win in 2 that way, and hopefully just say, hey, let's give the boys a little bit of a break. Because if you play that third match, you're kind of at a disadvantage if other teams go through in 2.
No, that's fair. That's fair. So I've got FC Cincinnati winning this first game 2-1. I think it'll be a close game. Eventually, I think FC Cincinnati will win in 3. I think when we go back to Columbus, they're going to fix some things and be able to get, one on us. But I think we close it out at home with probably like a 1-0 victory, right? I think you keep it simple. You play Pat Noonan ball. You win by 1 goal, throughout this, first round, and we move on to, the next round.
Yeah, I'm hopeful again. Like if we're gonna do it, we have to be confident in our finishing. Like absolutely, the way we've been at the end of the season, we've had sustainable leads in a few matches, and we've let the other teams back in it, and that's been the trend in some of the recent Columbus matches as well. So the messaging I think from the coaching staff is like, play the same way you've been in these games. Like you've come out with great energy. It's just you can't amp yourself up so much that you don't have the reserve for the rest of it. I think that's an underrated part about this as well, Sam, is you're playing your rival 3 times in a row in this short time, potentially. So if you show all your cards right away, it might leave you a little bit more exposed. So the X factor in it could be like, do we start Giddy in a game because they're not really as familiar with him? Or do you go big with a Jabari or something like that? I don't know. I think obviously your 3-headed monster you got to stick with. But late on in the match, like Sam had mentioned, like Jabari could be a huge impact for the team and a crew team that's just been letting in goals. So I think that would be very valuable for us. But it's all negated, Sam. It's like looking at teams that are, 2 seed and 7 seed and saying these guys could very well be 3 seeds together. Like it doesn't matter what the seeding is really at this point. And I think any of the Eastern Conference matchups, like the seeding is kind of irrelevant. All the teams are so close in their capabilities. There's very subtle differences in why other teams have been good, but the runs of form lately, the health of the teams, like all that is huge if you want to make an MLS playoff run. Does our way of playing bode well for a cup run, Sam? Do you think like Noonan ball is sustainable for that? What are your thoughts?
I think we touched a little bit on this, a couple weeks ago as we started getting closer to the playoffs, right? As we're continuing to win by 1 goal. And finally, you see this last match, we went 3-0, right? So we pushed it, and Pat Noonan, kind of put those players in to be able to continue to get another goal, right? Which, once again, that may have just been the lack of quality against a team like CF Montreal. But at the same time, you're seeing FC Cincinnati, a new FC Cincinnati going into the playoffs that is willing to go score, right? And my hope would be that continues, right? We pushed the limit. I would rather say, oh my gosh, FC Cincinnati had all these chances and we just weren't able to convert, rather than, oh my gosh, Columbus Crew is really taking it to us and we couldn't get out of our own half. So I would rather have the first part there.
Yeah, for sure. I think the way, the mentality, the mindset of it has to be just like go and play your game, do what you got to do. I think in the game in July, Sam, they made it really difficult for Evander by pushing him around, fouling him. and he kind of got into it with the center referee to make some calls, for us, or against them. So look for that to be kind of an underrated part of this, is that if they're a little bit underrated in this matchup and based on availability, if we have maybe that little bit of the upper hand, do they play a little bit more chippy and try to get in our head that way and kind of set us off of our game? So again, the preparation, hopefully the way that we played the last game against them is, again, looking back at it now and saying, like, this can't happen. We got to find a way to win. And then if you look past that, then potentially Miami, but that's another animal. Hopefully, we can get through this run of 3. So I think we could tie a bow on it. Sam, if you want to give us our trivia question and answer before we go here.
Yeah, so once again, trivia question of the week presented by Goals TV was, last time FC Cincinnati played the Crew in the playoffs, it was in the 2023 MLS Cup semifinals. I asked Ryan who scored the opening goal in that match. Ryan said, I believe, Brandon Vasquez, and you said around the 20th minute, if I'm not mistaken.
So,
yeah. So, Ryan, you have the answer right this week. It is Brandon Vasquez. He scored in the 14th minute of the game there, and it was off of an assist from Bupenza. So he was able to score the goal there near like the back post. But yeah, Brandon Vasquez was the last guy to score in a Crew versus FC Cincinnati. Well, I guess the first guy to score. First guy. Sorry, not last. First. But yeah, not bad there.
Yeah, I think Brandon will probably be tuning in for this one. Just knowing the history, and I think if you're just a unbiased fan, like, you have to look at this rivalry and say, man, first round, these guys go at it. I think we're excited, a little bit, nervous in some aspects from it too, but why not go and set the tone? Like, if you can get past this and you do it in a convincing way, like, I think that just bodes well for the rest of the playoffs, and to see, like, hey, we kind of exercise our demons in some ways. So we're excited for it. We'll roll out some more content as the week goes on for you guys, this build up to this exciting Monday night game that we have in round 1, game 1. But thanks again for joining us tonight if you did for the live. Otherwise, check us out in our audios, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. And again, all of our clips and reels that we have rolling out for you guys, TikTok and Instagram, wherever you find all of your other clips as well. So thanks again for joining us tonight.